Facebook page so everyone can watch this awesome show. Let's do this. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Let's get this. All right, let's see. Anna is really excited too. So we have a lot of great things that we're going to discuss today. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Renee Adams Show and Empowerment Week. Please do not forget to like, share, and comment on this broadcast. And also, if you'd like to be a guest on the Renee Adams Show, please inbox me. We can discuss you being on the show. And voila, you never know. So today I have my guest, Anna Nikaya, and she is an award-winning and bestseller author, speaker, and entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, Anna.
Thank you so much, Renee. So excited to be here.
Yes, this is going to be so awesome. So Anna, today you are here to talk about points pertaining to diversity in the classroom, teaching Black history, girl empowerment, but also the Naya Zuri movement and the importance of literacy. So let's get started by first telling people who you are and just a little bit about your backstory.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for that introduction. My name is Anna Nayakana. As Renee just mentioned, I'm a children's book author, most notably of Naya Zuri and the Pharaoh's Throne. I'll throw it in the window here for everyone.
Absolutely beautiful. Yes.
So much. And I have really built everything in the Naya Zuri movement based on the book itself. It's been the foundation. And I wrote the book essentially because growing up, I couldn't find anyone on the cover that looked like me. And coming to the US from Germany, I come from a multicultural family. My father's from Uganda, East Africa. My mother's from Moldova, Eastern Europe. And abroad, everyone is more on culture and heritage. But in America, everything is very Black and white, and you had to pick sides. And as I was learning who I am and maturing and eventually reaching the point of understanding that I'm a woman of color, and I embrace this, I said, I can remember feeling as a child that I was left out. I couldn't find any sort of literature that spoke to me. And hence the idea for Naya Zuri came. I wanted a fearless Black heroine that was leading the way, that was so confident and sure of herself, qualities that I was actually lacking as a child, to one, empower young girls, and also empower all children to find that inner strength, and also find that self-love from seeing a reflection of themselves, actually staring back at them on the book cover. That would have made a phenomenal difference for me as a child. And I said, I'm going to change that narrative. And
Absolutely. I love it. And so these topics that I mentioned earlier in the show, like, why are these subjects so important to you based off of where you're from and coming to the US, which is a totally different spectrum of the world? Like, what was it for you? What was so important?
Well, really, it was that I did not fit in. I did not fit in with any sort of group. And like I mentioned, culturally, there wasn't anyone that was embracing me here. And at the time, growing up in the 90s, I had to really figure out who it was that I am. And I realized quickly that like I said, I'm a woman of color. I'm a Black girl in this Black and white world. That's what I'm seen as. And the minute I actually embraced that, my entire world opened up. I accepted myself. I no longer was bullied by other kids in school because I started to become confident in who I actually am, what my voice is, and how I can actually use that. So the thing that really stuck out to me as a child is the fact that I went to a very low performing school. Okay, I grew up in the projects. Our school was in the bad part of town.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the way things are structured these days, your zip code can really set the future for you if you're not careful, and if you just allow the system to kind of guide you as a child versus really stepping on, challenging yourself, challenging curriculum, challenging yourself, be able to put yourself in special programming. These are things and services that weren't allotted to me or anyone else that I went to school with. And I said, if only someone would have came in my classroom. If only someone would have came and told me, guess what, Anna, you're important. You matter. You have a voice. You have worth, and anything that you can do it. It doesn't matter that you
totally make a difference.
Exactly.
Right. So tell me this as far as because you do have you definitely have some cultural integration as and growing up in these like two different worlds,
Right.
and being able to find that identity, because you said that you had to realize who you were and embrace it.
Yes.
So I mean, how did that come about for you, and how hard was that for you to be somewhere that you really weren't familiar with?
Oh, it was extremely hard, Renee. I had a language barrier. And like I said, I was bullied terribly in school, believe it or not. But through time and experience, and as I mentioned, I used to read a lot as a kid, but I couldn't find anyone on the cover that looked like me. I actually used to read from a dictionary a lot. And I used to read a lot of like self autobiographies and memoirs, and really pulling on leaders such as Nelson Mandela and leaders, especially African political leaders that were able to overcome challenges and really lead their countries and lead their people. And that's what gave me the confidence to really start being more outspoken, right?
Mm.
Correcting those that butchered my name, correcting those that, once again, try to always put me in a box because they couldn't figure out where I was from and who I was. And
Wow.
to embrace myself. And when I embraced myself, that's when the switch happened. That's when the purpose came. That's when the focus came. And into adulthood, when it was time for me to write a story to impact the youth, because the youth is my jam. Okay. The youth.
Yeah, that's good though. You found it. You found it.
It's my passion. It's my passion. And Naya Zuri, actually, it's more than a character. It's more than a book. It's more than a brand. It really is a movement, as you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Beautiful purpose. So in addition to going into the schools and bringing my book and integrating it into the curriculum, I also motivate the youth. I light a fire under them and let them know, like, listen, you can trailblaze. You can do anything that you set your mind to. And I leave them with these gems I like to call the fundamental truths of Naya Zuri. And
I
hopefully
love that.
jump into
Yeah,
that.
because your books really do represent not only your story, but it's incorporating the Black history, and you're showing kids that this is what your life is about. When you look at Black history, and you can really start to understand your roots, and you start to understand yourself, because I do like the fact that you talk about little girls being okay with their own hair, just natural hair.
Crazy.
Right. Yes. And so one of the things that, and I love that you're creating this, because it's amazing of how you're actually, putting this staple out there to say, this is okay. It's okay to be who you want to be, who you choose in this life, without media or magazines being the culprit, being that the option to say that's what I'm supposed to look like, not natural hair, because everyone's like judging me and talking to me about that. But how do you actually convince children that it's okay when they're being bullied, or the magazines and media are all about the other side of it?
Exactly. Renee, as a parent, I am a firm believer that children learn more from what they see than from what you say.
Okay.
Talk until you're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, it's what they see. So number one, I lead by example. I am comfortable in my own skin, in my wild hair. I embrace who I am, my skin tone,
Yes.
body shape. I don't try to, ease into things that don't fit me, or try to hide myself as well. Or like when I go into schools, I barely even wear any makeup, because I want children and young girls specifically to really embrace their beauty within. What's beautiful? There's so much society, especially now with social media, that these young girls have to live up to. Listen, you know what the most beautiful thing is? Your mind.
Absolutely. That's so true. I love that you said that. And if you don't get a grip of who you are at an early age, you are going to be confused and lost.
Oh, most definitely.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yourself, look at what an amazing powerhouse and what an amazing uplifting woman you are. We need to definitely continue to lead the way for the young girls, and really lead that blueprint for all children to see. Listen, embrace who you are. Don't try to deny yourself, deny your destiny. Everyone is entitled to their own destiny, and you have a place in the world, and you matter. Don't try to conform to this world. Stand out in this world. We need you to change it.
Girl, don't let me turn you up on the microphone. You're absolutely right, though. I mean, so many people are so afraid of being authentic and being original. They think it's weird. They think it's awkward. They think it's eccentric in a way that makes them look crazy or to be strange in some kind of way. But when you actually are comfortable in your own skin, you realize uh, throughout your life that through experiences and losing the fear of what everybody else think, you'll be so happy that you chose that route.
You liberate yourself. Like, why
Yeah,
oppress yourself and burden yourself with trying to live up to society's standard? Make your own standard. We are really all made to be unique, right? No one has the same fingerprint. No one has the same
right.
path. And like I said, everyone's entitled to their own journey. So that's
Yes.
about Nyazuri and the message and lighting that fire up under the youth because, like I said, no one ever came to check on me. But instead of complaining about it and letting that be a crutch that I carried the rest of my life, I'm changing that narrative. And I'd love to encourage other adults and other creatives and anyone in their spaces to also change that narrative.
That is beautiful. So, did it really bother you as a young child to where it created some kind of complex at all? Or were you very observant in your environment to realize, okay, I see differences and I know I'm different, but how can I, just to be the person that I am culturally and as beautifully defined as I am? Like, how was that for you? Because I think it can go into so many different directions when you talk about being bullied, when you talk about being in a family, both on, again, your family is even on opposite ends of the world. They come together. Now you're in a family teaching you totally different cultures and ways of doing things. And now that you come into, another part of the world that's totally different in the way that it's segregated,
Yes.
it's like how can it you be at such a young age and have this almost like beautiful kind of way of being and thinking, and then you get to the US and you're finding out like, wow, this is not, I just don't know what to do. I'm in this unknown territory and I don't even know who I am anymore. And it's really, and I know that you mentioned a few components of that and a few elements of it, but I think it's a lot deeper in the way that all of this is translated.
Oh, most definitely. All of those childhood experiences, Renee, really never me. But like I said, instead of it destroying me, it gave me a clear path. When I decided to write a story for the youth, I knew the exact story that I wanted to write. I wanted to not only have representation through the characters, I wanted it to have that representation of what the children were actually learning. The fact that
Mhm.
traveling to different parts of history to help other children overcome an obstacle. In the first book, they go to ancient Egypt and they're helping Prince Tut overcome his fear of rule because most children don't know that Tut was only 8 years old when he became Pharaoh, which is a king. So
Wow.
why can't you find that inner king or inner queen, right? Inner emperor and inner empress or inner god and inner
Mhm.
within yourself. We come from such a rich history, but unfortunately here, especially in the US, it's very oppressed. It's a lot of indoctrination. We're only taught things to suppress our thinking and
Right.
not to liberate us. Because God forbid we're liberated. God forbid you give Black people their actual history. Do you understand the type of strides that we will make because our children are confident from the small and
Right.
knowing that, hey,
Yes.
doctors. We were the first astronomers. We were the first artists. We were the first philosophers. We were the first of everything. So don't allow anyone to tell you that you're worthless. Don't allow anyone to tell you that you are not worth beyond your zip code or your area code. You can reach any height that you want to, but you just need that encouragement.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you're bringing this up to convince young children to be proud of their heritage over what they see in their environment. Just point blank, period. Right? Just to be proud of who you are, and stand for it and have a voice. Like I love when I see like teenagers that are speaking in front of audiences. I remember one day I was walking past a young lady and she's speaking in front of her peers. I told her, I said, do not ever stop doing what you're doing. I just had to say that to her because she was so confident and she spoke so well and they listened to her. And once I said that to her, she said, I won't. I said, I hope not, because you don't realize now what you're doing and the impact that you can create in the long term if you continue to do what you're doing. So when she said, I promise I will not stop, because some people can actually rip that apart from you and break you down to where you feel like what you're doing has no value.
Exactly. And Renee, I'm so encouraged to hear that you did that. And that's what we all need to continue to do. So if there's anyone who feels that, well, I don't have a voice, I don't have any way to make
Yes.
God's life or anyone's life, you have a voice, right?
Absolutely.
You don't know how a simple gesture can really help someone on their path. It can be the simplest thing, like you said to that young woman saying, don't stop. She may have needed to hear that. She may have been using her voice because no one was listening to her in the first place. But
Absolutely.
Right?
And we all need that. Even when we're at our highest and we reach certain levels that we've never been, all of us need that encouragement. All of us need that extra, just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. And I have so many amazing supporters that I absolutely love that's been saying that to me throughout the years. And every time I hear it, I'm just like, yes, Renee, keep doing what you're doing. This is what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm saying that because I want you to understand that even though you self-motivate yourself and you're reaching all kinds of levels, all of us, no matter what level we're at, we need that. We and do it for others. Don't just allow it to come to you. Give it back when you're seeing someone who is creating a certain space for empowering and inspiration and educating, because it is not easy.
No.
And they're using their voice in a way, even if they feel like they're not perfect, they still reaching people. And those people that they're reaching need to hear what they have to say.
I love everything you said, Renee. I love it. And that's why it's so important that we're mindful of our circle as well, right? And that we're supporting each other, because at the end of the day, there's more than enough room at the table for everyone. And I'm all about knowledge sharing. And if you ask anyone in my circle, it's not that big. I keep my circle kind of tight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ask them the same thing, or anyone new that I come across, like, how can I support you? Honestly, like, how can I knowledge share? How can I elevate you? Because it's great if you're transforming and pushing ahead, and it's great if I'm elevating and encouraging and supporting people, but we should all be doing this collectively as a people, as a community. We should not be so far behind here. We should really be advancing the way. We should have our own 1%. We should be able to borrow capital from our own when we need it. We shouldn't really be looking outside of ourselves. But if we're not already investing in one another, well, then what is the point to all of this, right? What is the point to us even sitting here talking about the encouraging things and the movements that we're making in this world if there's no one here to continue the movement, and there's no one here to continue to use their voice and share with their brother and their sister and lock arms and continue to push ahead? It's really on all of us. So let's continue to support each other. Let's continue to
absolutely
build one another up, knowledge share, support each other. At the end of the day, we need to have each other's backs. So shout out to my tribe, because my Nayazuri tribe, I love you. Thank you so much for your support over the years. I see some of my close friends in my circle that are jumping on the YouTube.
Yes, I'm noticing that too. I appreciate anybody that's coming over from her tribe, right? Just the energy it creates when you're here and you're commenting, it really speaks volumes. And to know that me and Anna is really, speaking to you in some kind of way. So that is amazing. So thank you for that as well. And one of the things I did want to talk about, which I know is the movement that you're creating, but I wanted to talk about the literacy, because you're writing children's books, which is really important. But more importantly, it's important for children to know it's okay to read and actually like kind of put that focus into picking up a book and learning how to read, because what you've shown is that you can create something that is going to be empowering, that's going to be encouraging, that not only that, but also creates entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
Because of your skills and your talents and your gifts. So when you actually start out, and most of us would say, "Oh, I wish that we would have started at that age," but I do encourage children to pick up a book and start reading because it does so much for you mentally and your literacy. It does so much for your actual intellect into writing and speaking in that way. Because because the one thing that we both know, Anna, is that when we actually pick up a book or we listen to positive audio, it does something that alters our mind in the way that we think, that portrays a more mature level of ourselves. That knowledge, again, gets us higher in life than without it because we're going with our own kind of thoughts and little experiences. But reading those books are teaching us from other people's perspectives and experiences. So with your writing, though, is that kind of how you look at it? You know, because you do have a different kind of conception and also perception on this. Like, how would you explain it?
So how I would explain it is I purposely have my book is historical fiction. So historical fiction means that there's actually history that is being taught, but it's being taught in a fun, adventurous way. And the whole reason of the adventure is I know growing up where I did, we did not have a dime for any vacation and all these lavish things that you see on social media. Our vacation was going outside and playing and coming home before the street lights turned on.
Right. Yeah.
So the sense of adventure really takes children's minds beyond, once again, their zip code, beyond their normal neighborhood to learn about cultures different from their own. There's so many words in my book that are underlined so children can flip to the back of the book and really build their vocabulary, understand concepts and places that are normally not taught in the school system, that are just things that are very critical for them to learn in their foundation. And with that said, my focus has really been on the curriculum. And I know that's something that has definitely set myself and the entire Nayazuri series apart because I'm really focused on making sure that there's diversity in the classroom, that it's being taught, especially since the classroom is usually the first place that a child not of color meets a child of color and vice versa. So wouldn't it be a beautiful thing if we're already promoting self-love from seeing characters that look like you and also promoting empathy and understanding from seeing characters that do not look like you, because less than about 10% of books even have any sort of multicultural content to them. All right, so that's a very small percentage, and out of that percentage, less than 5% are even written by authors of color or any culture whatsoever. So the odds may already be stacked against me, but I'm so consistently persistent. And regardless of the no's that I get, I will keep on going. I will keep on fighting for that younger version of me because, like I said, I wish someone told me I mattered. And I'm here to make sure I tell every child that they matter. And literacy is a way to really open up a child's mind, allow the creativity to keep going. Because that innocence and that creativity and imagination, those are all things that are unfortunately robbed of a child because of circumstance, right? Maybe they live in a single family home, with one parent, or maybe they just have the odds stacked against them because of a health reason or something else that's going on in their community, right? And because of that, they already feel like, once again, the odds are stacked against them. So if I can push through and I can make it and I can continue to succeed and elevate, I'm going back to where I came from and I'm pulling those kids up and I'm pulling the community up and I'm holding my brothers and sisters accountable to do the same, because that's the only way at the end of the day that we advance. But that's why it's important that we keep that literacy and that love of literacy alive for children. But they don't want to read the same old thing that we read 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
No, they do not. No, no, not over and over again. It's the same thing. Things have changed, right? And you make a good point.
The February, Black History Month, like we are beyond those 28 days. Our history is so vast. But if those are the only things that are being taught to you, and it's no disrespect to any of the individuals that have died and bled for us, or civil rights leaders that have taken those steps and walked those, taken those pilgrimages for us, it's just that what is beyond that now? Let's talk about who is making a difference that looks like us in our community, beyond just being an athlete, beyond just being a musician or a rapper. There are so many other individuals that are creative, that are artistic, that are advanced, that are scientific, that are really doing it for us. But it's so
yes, I love it. Thank you. Yes.
Something about it.
Yes. And the one thing that I did notice, I heard on one of your interviews, which I think is really awesome, and it speaks to everything that you're saying about your passion and your dedication, is that this is not just sitting on the shelves in a bookstore or library or anything like that, but it's actually in classrooms, your book,
Yes.
which is amazing.
It is in the classroom, sis, and that is no easy feat, believe me.
Right. Tell us about that. Exactly.
The process. So I'm broadcasting here from Connecticut, and like I said, before I go anywhere else, I wanted to make sure I made a difference right here at home. I come from Stamford, Connecticut. That's where I grew up, and I wanted to make sure that at least I would start knocking out on these doors of the schools here in my own state. But not all the doors opened, and not all the phone calls or the emails were answered. You know, they were like just immediately deleted, or oh, we're interested, but we don't have a budget, or there's an excuse or this.
Wow.
So it was already an uphill battle. Although there were a lot of administrators that believed in what I was speaking and believed about really the overall message of the book, sometimes there's a lot of red tape. There's only so much that they can do, or there's a budgetary issue. So, like I mentioned, I just would not take no for an answer. If I had to continue to go up the ladder, administrative wise, or if I had to find an organization or a nonprofit or a local company to sponsor the books for the kids, that's what I would do. And
Right.
especially for the schools that had no budget, those inner city schools that, they don't even have a library. I volunteer my time and I give back because I wish someone gave back to us.
Yeah.
The fact of really inspiring others to give of themselves and be that difference, be the change that they want, not just complaining about the same thing and talking. I mean, so many people like to talk, but that's the impact that I've been able to make wonderfully in the schools. And like I said, it's definitely it has been an upward battle. But at this point, the book now has enough, of a reputation.
Yeah. How many schools now?
Oh my goodness, there's so many schools I can't even keep track of. I'm
No
in
way.
districts alone. Just
Wow. Now, when I listened to the interview, and I'm not sure how long ago, it was 5 at that time.
oh yeah, I've been going up, sis.
Oh, yes. That is so amazing. Yay. That is great. Because I'm like, anybody that it touches, that's good enough. But the more and more is even better. So thank you for that. Yes, we definitely need we need as many kids and children.
Usually say yes, and that person who says yes is usually a person that I've just worn down. Like, listen.
Oh my God, I can only imagine.
Shout out to all the administrators, the teachers, the principals, the superintendents that believe in the mission and believe in changing things up, believe in taking a chance, not on just on me and my students, but really taking a chance on their own students and understanding that this is something that they need and something that will directly impact them for the rest of their lives.
Oh, I love that. Yes, that was such a good way to end it. But I do want to also talk about the cartoon series. Now, what's that about?
Yes. So this has been a big dream of mine for about a little over 2 years now, actually taking the Naya Zuri series and expanding from just books to digital content and media. So I am working right now with an animator and really an incredible creative team to finally bring the Naya Zuri series to the screen.
Oh, that's so exciting. Oh my God.
The network. So all the networks are people that are tuning in. I will be pitching to networks in the next, hopefully, couple months, or 6 weeks to 2 months. And just putting the final touches on things now. And I'm excited.
That sounds exciting and fun. Yes. What a fun project to be working on. And to have that kind of passion behind it is going to get you far, girl. It's going to get you real far. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Let's get this on the screen, right? Let's get it on the screen, because not only will it be, once again, representation, but it's also going to be education. It's definitely going to be focused on teaching children something that they learn. You're not just going to plop your kid in front of the TV, right? I'm a parent too, so I'm very particular about the content.
Right.
So I'm using that standard first and foremost.
Wow.
It's something that can be tied back to the book. I want to make sure it's something that children are actually learning from, both subliminally and consciously as they're watching certain images. There's going to be wraps, like big wrap-ups at the end. I kind of do like a Mr. Rogers thing at the end and pop in and just recap things with the kids. So it's something that can be used virtually, especially right now with the way of the world. A lot of students are doing virtual learning, right?
Beautiful.
We have to lose that quality content because we're going virtual.
Absolutely. That is just amazing. And it could be like no other time better than now to do that.
Sis, you took the words out of my mouth. There's no better time, better now.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes for everything. So anyone out there right now that's tuning in, that's looking to start a new venture or looking to do or try something new or skill set, there is no better time than now. You have the extra time because of especially quarantine. You should stay focused. You should stay disciplined and also stay open-minded and just open to the possibility of the potential that you have and the impact you can really make.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I mean, you're great. You're great. You're such a good example, and it's nice to have another woman of color doing what you're doing and being passionate about it, and not allowing people to tell you that it can't be done.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Encouragement. This is what we should be doing, everyone. We should be supporting and uplifting each other. We should be, there's definitely enough room at the table. And I want to see you succeed. I want to see more than I want to see myself succeed. And I think with that passion, if we can continue to just like light that kerosene and really get that flame and keep that fire going, then we will definitely progress and really make that transformation that we want.
absolutely beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was such an honor to talk to you, and the things that you were able to point out and elaborate on was very like it just opens your eyes in a whole different kind of way. And that's why I love interviewing. I just love talking to people that have that mindset, and it's so nice to have you. I would have never imagined. I think you were actually the first person, like children wise, that I had on the show, and it was such an eye opener. So I appreciate you.
Honor, and thank you to you for your platform. Thank you for doing what you do. Because if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it really make a sound? No. So thank you for being that spotlight for everyone that's looking to really make a difference. Everyone that's challenging, the traditional and really doing the unusual or the innovation. If you weren't here to really spotlight the stories and our voices, they wouldn't be heard. Thank you for creating an incredible platform and really having a love for making sure you're embracing your own and your community and making sure you're embracing those voices and magnifying it. So thank you.
Beautiful. So beautifully said with a beautiful smile. I appreciate that. So, so I just want to leave off by saying anyone that wants to be on the Renee Adams Show, please contact me. Follow Anna on her social media as well. So she's on IG, Facebook too, right?
IG at Naya Zuri, just like the book, Niyahzuri. You can also on the website, www.annanayakana.com.
Beautiful. So thank you for everyone that commented. Sir Div, I'll say your name right. We all appreciate you guys for tuning in, joining us. And again, if you would like to learn more about her journey, please follow her on her Facebook page and Instagram. So thanks again, everyone. I will see you guys all this week. So you won't, it's going to be all good. So thank you again, Anna, and have a great night.
Thank you. You too, Renee. Take care.
Bye.